Well, despite a scornful reaction from much of the press and some of the public, the NFL insists if the strike is not settled a week from today, they will play games using what the league calls substitute players and what the union refers to as scabs. Some 200 Dreamers showed up in Memphis, Tennessee at an open tryout held this past week by the Minnesota Vikings. Most clubs are going about it differently, using players they got a look at in training camp or whom they had scouted but not drafted out of the college ranks. The Miami Dolphins fit into that category, and with us is their head coach, Don Shula. Don, what kind of team can you put together in the space of the next 7 days?
Well, we're going to find out a week from today. We play in Seattle. What we've tried to do, Bob, is to get the players that we had that didn't quite make our football team, to round up all of those type of players that we could get, and then get players from other teams that had been in camps. The biggest problem that we had was finding offensive linemen. We had to go out and just look all over for players that had experience playing offensive line and bring that type of player in. So we've thrown them together. We've worked now for about 3 days, morning, noon, and night. We're back to training camp. We're back to rookie camp. We're back to the veteran mini camp, getting players together and teaching them the basics. And the last couple of days have been pretty encouraging.
Everyone acknowledges your professionalism, but how much enthusiasm can you have for this task?
Well, I think it's professional pride more than anything else. You know that this isn't the situation that you want to be in. You hope that this thing could be settled by the owners and the players getting together. I thought that perhaps this past week, when all the principals were in Philadelphia, that we could get a settlement, but it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look like they're even close. So now we got to prepare a football team to play. And we as coaches do have professional pride. And we're going to work hard to get these people ready and to try to make the best showing that we can make.
You're a significant part of the history of the National Football League, and you take pride in that. Do you worry about the integrity of the game the NFL is presenting as real games, games that involve players who weren't good enough to make the league?
Well, I don't think that the owners are trying to present this as games that it would be the same as if the veteran football players were here and there wasn't a strike. These are replacement players. There's no question about that. They've offered to refund or reduce ticket prices. So the fan has to make a choice. What we're going to do is to try to give the best possible product that we can give to the fans that show up.
Is it Don Shula against Chuck Knox in a big way next week, maybe even more so than if you had your real players?
Well, no, not more so than if we had our real players, but I'm sure that Chuck has got a lot of integrity, a lot of professional pride. What we do in a situation like this is to try to find out the things that Chuck Knox has done as a coach, and then think that he is going to try to do these same type of things both offensively and defensively, because we're going to know very little about the players that he's going to line up, and he's not going to know a lot about our players.
A rough comparison, what level of play would you compare this to? Is it as good as a top-level college game, or beneath that, or what?
Oh, that's just so tough to say. We've got some players out there that just missed making it in the NFL, so you got to think that that level right there is going to be high caliber. And then some of the other players that aren't in the best of shape and haven't played in the National Football League, you're going to have to gear it down so that those players know what to do and they can compete. That's going to keep you from being as sophisticated as you would like to be. You have to simplify it so that the guy, the weakest link of the chain, knows what they're doing.
How likely is it that you'll find a handful of players who can survive post-strike and play in the league for real?
Well, I think you're going to find that. In 1970, when I came down here, there was a strike. And we had a lot of rookie players, and we had free agents in here, and they worked, and they made an impression. And then when the veteran football players reported, these players were able to compete at that level, and a lot of them made our football team. And, of course, that was the beginning of what turned out to be the great teams of 72 and 73.
Don, thanks for being with us. Good luck under strange circumstances.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. Don Shula.